an American original.
You're watching KNDO Channel 23 in Yakima. And this is News Center 23. With Pat Dooris. Kyle Osborne with the weather. And Doug Kershaw with sports. And now, News Center 23.
Good evening. Will there be enough water for irrigators this summer? It is certainly not the first time that's been asked by growers in our area. Tonight, a glimmer of good news in the answer. The most recent report by the Bureau of Reclamation shows last month's water runoff was 125% of normal, not the runoff, rather, the storage. Couple that with meteorologists' predictions of normal weather for the next couple of months, and things look pretty good. But that forecast differs with the U.S. Soil Conservation Service, which says snowpack for the Yakima River Basin is 56% of normal. The Conservation Service says other areas in eastern and central Washington are lagging in their water supply as well. Growers in the lower valley are concerned not only with water these days, but also with frost. A newspaper report this morning quoted an extension agent saying the valley lost a third of its cherry crop from a killer cold a couple of weeks ago. Tonight, Benton County Extension agent Jack Watson says the number is wildly high. And while Watson admits there will be some damage in these trees, he says it will be a while before the damage is known for certain. And he is almost positive it will be less than the 1/3% that was estimated. The jury in the David King murder trial has gone home for the night, waiting apparently until morning to decide his fate. King is charged with first-degree murder for allegedly waiting outside his wife's workplace, then shooting her in the head. As News Center's Rod Smith reports, King today took the stand to defend himself.
Today, the defense in the first-degree murder trial of David King called its first and only witness to testify. David King approached the witness stand without his jacket, and he said he was very nervous about testifying. King is accused of premeditated first-degree murder in connection with the shooting death of his 23-year-old wife, Susan, in the back of a North First Street hair salon on the evening of December 16th. The 32-year-old Kennewick man told the jury that he was in the midst of a custody battle with his wife over their 2-year-old daughter. He said that fear of alleged child abuse by Susan King and concern over the child's well-being prompted him to steal guns from his brother's Pasco home, drive to Yakima, and confront his wife. Under cross-examination, King told prosecutor Jeff Sullivan that he intended to use the .22 caliber pistol to scare his wife into telling him where his daughter was. He told Sullivan that he did not think about killing Susan King. In the defense's closing arguments, defense attorney Susan Hahn told the jury that David King was scared, upset, and frustrated, and said the killing was not premeditated. She said that after the shooting, King was shocked and confused, and he turned himself in to authorities in Everett so he could tell his side of the story. Prosecutor Sullivan disputed that. He said the killing was premeditated. He said that King became very angry on the morning of December 16th after his wife told him by telephone that she wouldn't move back in with him. He said that King wanted to kill his wife and went and stole the guns and thought about the killing while he drove from Pasco to Yakima. Sullivan said King then stalked his wife and executed her. Premeditation is the key element of first-degree murder. So the fate of David King now rests with the jury, which has some very difficult decisions to make before a verdict can be rendered. Rod Smith, News Center 23, Superior Court.
Again, the jury continues its deliberations in the morning. On the west side tonight, police are looking for a pair of bold bank robbers who knocked off an Everett branch of Seafirst Bank this morning. The men, apparently armed and masked, picked up a storm drain and smashed through plate glass windows in the bank's front doors. The two then jumped through, grabbed a cart full of money that had just been taken from night deposit boxes, and took off in a stolen van. A possible connection here, police say the bank in Portland was robbed in a similar way 4 years ago. Our state has one of the highest gas taxes in the country. You may be aware of that. Tonight it appears the tax could go higher still. The House Transportation Committee today recommended approval of a bill which would boost the tax by 5 cents a gallon. Legislators say the bill needs a lot of work and will probably see some amendments before it passes. If it passes, the gas tax will kick in on July 1st. The money would be used for a variety of road projects in our state. When we come back, President Reagan speaks before Canada's Parliament on the issue of acid rain. And later in sports, Doug Kershaw has the results of that great fight between Sugar Ray and Marvelous Marvin Hagler. And then we'll show you the story of a couple who would not give up, Trapped under the snow in their car for 2 weeks, they made it out alive.
Is this the position you're finding yourself in lately? But you say it's too cold out, so tanning and swimming are just out of the question? Wrong, because the folks at Recreation Center at the RV Park want you to experience the comfort of their great facilities, like maintaining that gorgeous tan with our state-of-the-art tanning salons, or relaxing in the jacuzzi and dry sauna. Not to mention our spacious indoor heated pool. We have an indoor barbecue area with group rates that can't be matched. That's the Recreation Center at the RV Park.
Bi-Mart members, check your mail for your Spring Savings membership coupon book. You'll find 81 money-saving coupons on items you need today. Pick up Smart Shopper plastic sheeting, only $2.99 with your Bi-Mart coupon. After rebate, just $1.99. And Bi-Mart brand lawn and leaf bags or large trash bags with your Bi-Mart coupon. After rebate, only $1.99. Also get Dexol ready-to-use products, just $2 each with your Bi-Mart coupon. After rebate, they're free. Get the Bi-Mart membership advantage. Shop your coupons now and save at Bi-Mart.
Acid rain is certainly not a new issue when it comes to American-Canadian relations. The clouds of smoke from some of our industrial areas, which have been sent over the border, anger Canadians to no end. Today, President Reagan was in Canada and spoke before Parliament. The issue? Acid rain. Robin Lloyd reports.
All day long, President Reagan appeared to be ducking questions on acid rain, the most emotional issue here.
President, why won't you agree to an acid rain treaty? The Prime Minister says you're killing their environment, sir.
We're not helping our own. That's no question.
Saying one way or the other, we're still discussing these things. Here, let me demonstrate to you the progress that we've made so far.
The president was making no commitments. Mulroney proposed a treaty to eliminate 50% of all acid rain by 1994, but the U.S. has resisted so far. Despite this, Mulroney at one point, appearing with his young son, sounded optimistic.
Making progress on all of these matters that we're in the process of discussing.
Mulroney needed progress. His government is facing a severe political crisis. In his address to Parliament, the president said he would consider Mulroney's proposal on acid rain, and he praised the Prime Minister for his efforts to achieve a free trade accord.
We can lead first by our powerful example, specifically by the example of Prime Minister Mulroney's far-sighted proposal to establish a free trade agreement that would eliminate most remaining trade barriers between Canada and the United States.
For President Reagan, this was also an important summit. This was his first foreign visit since the Iran arms scandal broke out, and his credibility was clearly under scrutiny from Canadian officials he met with.
It struck me last night in listening to the president and in talking to him this morning that he was up to speed and in control.
There were no dramatic breakthroughs here, but both leaders accomplished something. Both were able to shift the focus for the moment away from their domestic political troubles and claim that they achieved some progress. Robin Lloyd, NBC News, with the president in Ottawa.
Add another candidate to the number of Republicans running for Reagan's seat in 1988. Today, Jack Kemp officially announced he is a candidate for the presidency. Kemp outlined a platform of strong national defense and opposition to abortion. During his speech, Kemp said America must have a vision for the future that includes victory, perhaps a holdover from his days as an NFL quarterback. Kemp may need his vision of victory. Public opinion polls show him running well behind Vice President George Bush and Senate GOP leader Robert Dole. When Jimmy Carter was president, he probably didn't foresee daughter Amy getting into politics, at least not the hard way, but she is. Amy Carter was arrested last November along with 60s activist Abby Hoffman and others during a demonstration against the CIA. The CIA was recruiting at Amherst College, where the younger Carter attends college. She's now going to court. One thing past and future presidents will likely be involved in is space. And today, NASA, who is also very involved in space, discussed plans for America's first manned space station. The station would be a working platform suspended in orbit. You can see the model there. NASA plans to begin construction on this platform in 1994. Rescue crews today surveyed the area of a highway bridge collapse over the weekend in New York State. At least 3 cars and a semi plunged from this bridge into the flood-swollen river below. There's the bridge collapse. 3 people are known to be dead. Searchers in the morning will again look for a 4th missing person. The collapse of this bridge forced the closing of about 25 miles of roadway. The New York State Legislature, by the way, today opened hearings into the cause of the collapse. One of the men convicted in the insider trading scandal on Wall Street today was checked into prison. Dennis Levine arrived in a chauffeur-driven Mercedes at this prison in Pennsylvania to begin serving his 2-year term. Levine's extraordinary cooperation with the SEC led to information and arrest in the scandal which left Wall Street reeling. Levine was given leniency for his help. He could have faced 20 years in prison for his crimes. The falling dollar is creating an odd situation for Japanese car companies with plants here in America. Some are discovering they can make more money building cars in America and shipping them to Japan instead of the other way around. Jim Giggins explains.
When Honda opened its new plant in Marysville, Ohio 5 years ago, it became the first Japanese automaker to produce cars in the United States. For Honda, it made economic sense.
We try to produce cars in the market in which we sell, and it makes a lot of sense that if the major market is in the U.S. particular product, we will produce the product here.
Honda is now on the verge of another first, also because it makes economic sense. During the past 18 months, the Japanese yen has risen more than 60% in value against the dollar, making Japanese products more expensive in world markets. If the yen continues to rise against the dollar or maintains its current level, Honda could become the first Japanese automaker to reverse the process and begin exporting cars from the U.S. back to Japan. The reason is that the cost advantage the Japanese have long enjoyed over American automakers has been all but eliminated. Honda can now produce cars just as cheaply here in Ohio as in Japan. At Honda's Marysville, Ohio plant, even most of the parts are now supplied by American companies. Honda calls those parts local content.
We hope to raise local content in the near future to about 66%.
There is already precedent for Honda selling its American-made products abroad.
We're exporting about 2,000 cars a year to Taiwan.
What all this means, of course, is that fewer American auto jobs could be lost because of imports. Mazda might very well do the same thing. At a new plant being constructed in Michigan, Mazda will do a new version of its 626 mid-size car, and it's expected that that car could very well be exported to Japan. Jim Giggins in Los Angeles, reporting for NBC News.
Odd how the world turns. When Kyle Osborne comes back next, he'll tell us how the weather's turning, and he says there's a lot of changes in store.
Spring is here, and it's time again for the Yakima Dodge Mystery Phrase game to begin. The first person to complete the mystery phrase will win $1,000 cash. It's no mystery. Yakima Dodge is the top leasing dealer in Eastern Washington. Here's another great reason to lease from Yakima Dodge. Drive this 87 Dodge Aries LE with air conditioning, cruise, and cassette stereo, only $169 a month, no money down. Or this 87 Dodge Dakota, America's only true mid-size truck, automatic, power, and more, only $148 a month. Again, no money down. Check Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday's Yakima Herald for mystery phrase letters. Somebody really wants to live here.
Yes, in the weather today, it was kind of changing today, wasn't it? Sort of maybe indicative of the rest of the week?
I think that's probably a good way of putting it. We started off the day, of course, with some glorious sunshine, and by this afternoon, what in the heck is going on? Clouds are everywhere. And now I'm going to tell you something different. It looks like they're going to be gone by the time we complete the cycle and get back around to tomorrow morning. So it's really going to be a week, well, I might actually have to work this week. We'll keep on our toes and keep you going. Right now, then, under cloudy skies, the temperature, now look at this, still a very warm and comfortable 54 degrees, thanks in part to those southwesterly winds coming at 10 miles per hour. Pressure on the rise, that's a good sign, and humidity's at 41%. Current temperatures around the viewing area right now range from about 50 degrees in Ellensburg to that 54 we just showed you in town. Here are our maximum temperatures, which we recorded earlier this afternoon, 61 in Yakima. Our weather watcher down in Zilla, Dorothy Bauer, had almost an identical day to Yakima. In fact, things were the same all the way down the highway into the Tri-Cities. She had 60. But what I mean by saying the exact same thing is she started off with all the sunshine, as did Becky Coates and Moxie, and then everyone got the clouds pretty much the same time this afternoon. Everyone except people in Western Washington. They started their day off with the clouds and actually had a couple of scattered showers. We're going to show you some high temperatures west of the Cascades today, and you'll see that they were definitely on the cooler side. In fact, it was only 57 degrees in Seattle today, 59 for Portland, and Bellingham was even a little bit cooler. As I mentioned, things very consistent down through not only the Kittitas and Yakima valleys, but all over the Central Basin. Low 60s everywhere, and Spokane just a bit cooler. I'm getting tired of saying that. They're always a bit cooler, but today it was 58 for their high temperature. All right, here's the satellite shot. You may wonder where those clouds were coming from about sunset tonight from the west. This approaching frontal system, well, it's no longer approaching. It is here. In fact, it's already on its way out, but you'll see it's a very well-defined, narrow band of clouds. Hasn't been responsible for much rain. It's kind of weak. You may have seen a couple of drops tonight, depending on where you live. But that's going to be about the extent of it. As I mentioned, I think by late tomorrow morning, this should be out of our way. In its wake, air's a little unstable. You'll see a few clouds there. But in general, I think it's going to be a pretty good-looking Tuesday. Now, unfortunately, Wednesday, it looks like another system will be lined up and ready to get into our area and maybe spread some showers. In fact, already tomorrow it's going to be in western Washington. So we run through these cycles every couple of weeks, it seems like, this time of year. This is one of those weeks. We're going to be off and on. We'll spell it out for you day by day. And we'll start off tonight with clouds. Partial clearing for tomorrow. Let's call it partly cloudy with a high of 65. In the very coldest areas, it's going to be 33 tonight, but if those winds keep hooking along out there, it could just stay warm as it is now. So we're going 33 to tell you to be prepared for that, but it could be warmer. All right, enough said about tonight. Here's the week in advance. Tuesday looks pretty good by late morning or early afternoon. Wednesday, yes, the other system's here, but it's out of the way by Thursday, so we're looking good there. And then Friday, another system comes in. Pretty much an odd and even situation, Pat, so the thing to do is try to remember what I just showed you there. Tomorrow's looking good, then Wednesday rain, and Thursday's looking good. You got that?
I've got it. Tomorrow good, the rest of the week you'll tell me tomorrow.
Okay.
By the way, kind of a good night for a fight. You want to make any bets on who won?
Gee, I don't know. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'll be like everyone else. My heart was telling me one thing, my head told me the other.
Yeah, well, Doug Kershaw will be in to tell us who won, but we'll do that in a minute. Stay in your seat. First, remember American Express and its extended warranty? The company touted the program as better than the warranty offered by the manufacturers. That was much to the chagrin of those same companies. The offer, though, was scheduled to end last December. It proved so popular, it's being extended now indefinitely. And now, as David Horowitz reports, other credit card companies are joining in.
If only things lasted longer.
The Electronic Industries Association objected to these commercials, supposedly because they made electronic appliances look like they were unreliable. And that, said the association, wasn't fair to the manufacturers. But the people who buy appliances obviously found the commercial amusing, and the protection offered by American Express worth having. American Express will double the length of any manufacturer's warranty up to 1 full year on any product purchased with the American Express card. Any product except an automobile. In effect, what American Express is doing is competing with the manufacturers' and retailers' own extended warranties, giving its members the same kind of protection other shoppers pay extra for.
Buyer's assurance from American Express.
Now some others are trying to beat American Express at its own game, offering free extended warranties of their own. For example, Polk Brothers, appliance store in Chicago, is doubling the manufacturer's warranties on electronics and appliances that it sells at no extra charge. A company called CompuCard is trying to sell a warranty extension plan to banks and other financial institutions which issue Visa and MasterCards. It's like credit card protection or discount insurance, a promotional package designed to attract new cardholders by offering them greater service and protection. That sounds good in advertising, but if customers won't switch for lower interest rates, will they switch for extended warranty protection on their appliances? They might, but I wouldn't bank on it. This is David Horowitz reporting for NBC News.
And now for Viewpoint. Tonight, security experts say it may be a while before the Marine spy case is over. More and more unauthorized contacts between Russians and the Marines are being uncovered. Some are saying the young men never should have been assigned to the embassy in the first place. Tonight in Viewpoint, we ask you, what do you think?
I think the Marines should be allowed. They've been doing it for years. It's sort of a prestigious duty in the Marine Corps, something for them to strive for. And this spy for sex scandal, I think that this stuff might have been going on a lot longer than they think it has, and they finally dug it up. So.
Well, they need somebody to guard the embassies. They might need to run a better check on the background of the people who do it, but
I think they should have a lot closer supervision if they're going to be there.
And we'll have more on that as the story continues. By the way, if you have a question you'd like asked in Viewpoint, just drop us a line. We'd be happy to get to it. And now, the question that's been on everybody's mind all night long.
I've decided that, since how you guys have been talking about it throughout the entire show, that I've decided not even to talk about the fight. Let's talk about opening season for baseball, huh?
ESPN is on channel.
That's right. The biggest story of the night is the big fight, the super fight. And we'll listen to the champion and the loser right after this.
There are some things in a man's life where second best isn't good enough. From the boots he wears to the tools he uses, he wants quality in the things he owns, like his chainsaw. And here's the good news. For a limited time, that quality costs less. Stihl's 024 Wood Boss, just $299.95.
Quality costs less during Stihl Spring Sale. Save up to $103 at a dealer near you.
I've got newer jeans in my closet, but these are the ones I wear. They're worn, faded, kind of ratty around the edges. Sort of like my U.S. West Direct Yellow Pages. This is the one I keep on my phone, because I always find lots more information on whatever I'm looking for. Maybe that's why it's got that lived-in look. Just like my jeans.
U.S. West Direct, the one that gets used.
Tonight, as we've been talking about, the super fight, and what a super fight it turned out to be. Most everybody thought that it was going to be this man was going to win, Hagler. Instead, the fight went to 12 rounds, and Leonard won 2-1 on a split decision. Now, with the three judges scoring this way, 118 to 112 Leonard, 115 to 113 Leonard, and 113 to 115 Hagler. Now, after the fight, Leonard thanked Hagler for letting him fight him, and still called Hagler the champion. However, Hagler had different thoughts.
I just want to say that tonight was a special accomplishment for me. And I respect everyone's opinion and personal viewpoints of the fight, but this fight meant the world to me. I'd like to extend a congratulations to Marvelous Marvin Hagler for giving me the opportunity to make history. Thank you, and God bless you all. As I stated earlier, it wasn't a belt that I wanted, it was just the fact of defeating him. To me, Marvelous Marvin Hagler is still the undisputed middleweight champion.
You know, he fought like a girl in there a lot of times. The quick flourish meant nothing. The showboating style, which everybody knew he was going to do. When the fight was over, Leonard told me himself, "You beat me." And I was so happy, man. I knew I beat him. I was so happy. And then when they take it away from me like that, it's hard to believe.
Some more news now from the world of college basketball. You thought we'd get away from that, didn't you? Today, from Corvallis, Oregon, the home of the Oregon State University Beavers, it was announced that assistant coach Jim Anderson would take over as head coach of the Beavers when Ralph Miller retires. Now, this is the catch. Miller hasn't announced his retirement yet, so what's the story? In fact, he's already said he's coming back to coach the Beavers next year. So I don't even know why they even brought it up. Big deal. Anyway, in case you've forgotten, today was the opening day of the baseball season, and there was some great action to report on. Here we see some action from the New York Yankees and the Detroit Tigers. This game was very close. In fact, it was tied at 1 run apiece at the end of 9 innings. Now, in the 10th inning, the Yankees looked like the Yankees of old, and Ricky Henderson hit a stand-up double and hit Wayne Tolson in. The Yankees went on to win by a score of 2-1. Now, as for the Seattle Mariners, they didn't open up today any kind of a play today. Instead, they traveled down to Los Angeles tomorrow to take on the California Angels. Of course, the M's aren't favored to do very well this year. In fact, here's something interesting. They are favored 12-1 to finish in last place of their division. At least they're favored to do something. Now let's go back to those scores to which we had just a second ago. First in the American League, New York over Detroit in 10 innings. Toronto 7-3 over Cleveland. Milwaukee, couple runs over Boston. The same thing for Baltimore over Texas. Chicago 5-4 over Kansas City Royals. For the National League now, Cincinnati 11, Montreal 5. The other extra inning game, San Francisco 4, San Diego 3. In Houston, the same thing over the Dodgers, except that was in normal innings. And that's baseball and sports. And
boy, a real dejected-sounding Hagler tonight.
You knew he was going to say that, though.
Well,
he fought like a girl, and they gave it to him.
Tough, though. A lot of title fights. You got to knock the champ out to beat him.
That's true. That was an interesting decision.
Yeah,
normally the split decision goes to the champ.
Be a lot of discussion about that in the papers tomorrow. When we come back, we'll introduce you to an elderly couple who made it through a snowstorm and 2 weeks of living in their car.
Disney and George Lucas have joined creative forces.
Welcome aboard!
So prepare yourself for 2 of the greatest thrills in the galaxy. Star Tours, brand new at Disneyland. A tumbling space flight so real, it will leave you breathless. And then, in the Magic Eye Theater, follow the crew of Captain EO, starring Michael Jackson, in an eye-boggling motion picture world of 3D. Captain EO and Star Tours, both at the thrill capital of the universe, Disneyland.
This is Ben Matlock. He's a good old country boy.
Look at this as part of life's food chain.
But don't get the idea that this lawyer is strictly for the birds.
I know we'd all like to get out of here and go someplace where the air conditioning actually works, so I'm going to be brief.
He's one of the best lawyers around.
You got that part right.
With Ben on your side, you'll always be a winner.
Next to injustice, I hate losing.
And now a story with a happy ending. A retired couple touring the country became stranded in the blizzards that hit western Kansas at the end of March. 65-year-old Nellie Orboff and her 71-year-old husband Orville survived 13 days in their snowbound car. Sheila Dressman has the details.
The blizzards came one right after the other, pounding western Kansas with mounds and mounds of snow. 65-year-old Nellie Obendorf and her 70-year-old husband Oliver had a front row seat to both, buried all the while up to their car's roof in snow. It would be 13 days of...
Just wondering whether you were going to make it and how long you could last, you know.
Up above, they could hear the helicopters circling with hay lifts for hungry livestock. Inside the car, Nellie and Oliver lived on Girl Scout cookies and soda pop. Keeping warm was another matter.
Done a lot of pulling blankets and arguing, but nothing serious. It didn't make blows.
When the first storm hit, Nellie and Oliver were on this road in northwest Kansas on their way to visit a sister in Iola. That's when Nellie says she took a wrong turn onto a dirt road. When a farmer finally found the couple, it took a tractor with an ambulance in tow to get to the two. When the farmer first spotted their car, he thought a dog was inside. Then he heard Nellie yelling.
My husband said, "Oh, what in the world's wrong with you?" And I said, "Look, look." It was sure good to see him.
And just in the nick of time, because Nellie says they were down to their last Girl Scout cookie. Sheila Dressman reporting for NBC News.
You can tell that is one couple that will continue to buy Girl Scout cookies probably for the rest of their lives.
Probably the first time the Girl Scout cookies really came in handy.
Yeah. Thank you for adding that.
Sure.
By the way, we have a special announcement to make. A week from this Monday, our 5:30 news will be on at 6 o'clock at night, and NBC Nightly News, instead of 6, will be on at 5:30. We'll be making more announcements about that, but get ready. Next week, 5:30 news goes to 6 o'clock. That's the newscast. Thanks for joining us. We're back tomorrow at 5:30. Until then, good night.
Good night.
This calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud. First sign of youngsters going wrong, you got to...